Hi everyone. I probably should be working, but instead I thought I would read you a lovely story that Mike and Vic and I wrote a little while ago about Carlos and Loretta. Tonight was the night. As Carlos limped slowly towards the dank yet sensual apartment where Loretta Jizzcock, the buxom sleep therapist, held court, he could not help but think to himself about the twin delights that awaited him within. Hitching up his stained trousers by the crotch, he gently fingered the soft nub of the buzzer before letting himself into the cavern of delights and closing the door behind him. Loretta was exactly where he expected her to be, spread-eagled on the chaise longue of her powerful thighs akimbo. His eyes appraised her sparse attire, a figure-hugging orange knitted jumper with sheer black latex leggings that clung parasitically to her every curve and contour. Her feet were bare but for the crimson varnish adorning her immaculate toenails, like the blood of a virgin adorns a serial killer's knife. He couldn't help it. He was already aroused. As he approached her, his manliness rose to the occasion. Both of them were ready to roll. "You're late," she purred asthmatically. "I was almost ready to give up on you." "My apologies. I'll accept whatever punishment you give me," Carlos retorted. He deposited his rump upon the antique chair. The shackles that had once held prisoners of war remained functional, but the only bondage required to keep him in place was his desire to conquer her. Loretta licked her lips lasciviously. There was still some ketchup on them from the hot dog she had devoured for her lunch early that day, which only added both to their rosy shine and her arousal. "How's your treatment going?" With her nicotine-blemished fingers she thrust a hand into the cavern between her heaving bosoms and retrieved a packet of cigarettes. Casting him a longing look, in fact, she lit one and hungrily sucked in the smoke in the manner of a filter-feeding marine mammal. Carlos sighed, half with despair, half with desire. "No success. I think I need something stronger." Loretta leaned forward, her twin mounds of feminine flesh straining dangerously behind the scamped confines of her sweater. "I'm going to try and cure your narcolepsy. I've some special techniques I think you will find most pleasurable. But—" She paused as her eyes strayed over his hair, greasy in need of a cut, down past the small forest of foliage sprouting forth from the neck of his shirt. "It may be quite—" Her gaze came to rest on the gargantuan tumescence protruding from the crotch of his filthy jeans. "Hard." Carlos watched as she removed her whimsical pocket watch from between her bulging mammalia. "Now close your eyes," Loretta instructed. "Are you sitting comfortably?" She began to swing the necklace from side to side, largely because any other way would be a safety hazard, and nobody wants to hit themselves in the face with their own necklace. In doing so, she rose and walked towards him. "Mm-hmm," came his reply. "Good. In that case, we can start the treatment." As the pocket watch swung from side to side, Carlos's vision began to swim like those unknowable marine creatures whose cycles follow that of the moon as they rise and fall in the ocean, ebbing and flowing like Loretta's body clock. The sleep therapist unfastened her corset, boned and detailed akin to the jawline of a baleen whale, causing Carlos's men to man the harpoon. As it stood in readiness, his prey approached, and as she shed her top she revealed her motherly protrusions in all their glory. This aquatic goddess was indeed a hot-blooded mammal. His bulging trousers resembled a narwhal, with the grey material pulled taut by his manhood, terminating in the deadly spear through which he intended to communicate his desire. "Now, rest your head on my pillows. It's time for you to sleep," she purred like a predatory sea lion. She leaned forwards, the pull of the earth at her feet dragging her pendulous milk sacks together, forming a compacted fascia upon which Carlos laid his head. As he thought back to the long summer days he spent resting thusly, his face buried in his mother's bosom, on his family's porch, he remembered the childhood joy he once knew in those halcyon days, and the pain, the loss that followed. His past self opened his eyes, and, waking, saw the soldiers cresting the hill behind them. Tears streamed down Carlos's face, lubricating the cleft between Loretta's dugs. As he narrowly converted a sob into a harsh intake of breath, he pushed his head down further and her nipples slipped into his mouth, sharp with a taste of sweat and tomato sauce. He let out a low growl and sucked the item in question like a boiled sweet, though stopping short of crunching it into shards of sugary smithereens, and felt Loretta's back arch as though she were imitating a viaduct in an obscure game of architectural charades. Hesitating for only a moment, His hand slipped to the vast crevasse between breast and ribcage, taking note of the copious exudations of slippery perspiration therein, and cut one of the great fleshy masses from underneath, marvelling at the way her great veins rose to the surface of her slightly oily skin, like roads of ecstasy on a great road map to Nirvana. Loretta sighed and felt the gusset of her latex shorts beginning to moisten.